at the moment. I live in Somerset now, and that's farm insider country.
Yeah, he could be sitting down there with a pint of cider in front of him.
Yeah.
Or real ale.
Real ale and real cider.
Think of his game. Good luck for everybody.
And we've just a bit of a pause here while we change the dealers over.
Thank you very much.
I think the Irish Open, just from something Stephen was saying, that the Irish Open might be, but he wasn't saying it, but I haven't figured this out myself, that it might be decent value this year, because I think PokerStars have moved the EPT San Remo to clash with the Irish Open.
Yeah, some at the same time. I did see him comment about that on Facebook, but
which seemed a bit naughty of PokerStars. I mean,
yeah,
not just live and let live, but it probably means for the Irish players that there'll be, I think there's Monte Carlo's on the week after or something. So
yeah, I mean,
so I think a lot of the big American pros will be coming over, going to San Remo, and then on to the other thing, and rather than coming to the Irish Open, which was supposed to be in the middle.
Yeah.
But it'll probably mean the value at the Irish Open is going to be better this year for anybody thinking of qualifying or playing.
Yeah, certainly. I think there'll be less pros in the field. Anna's put out a big bet here. She's all in. She's only got a few of the chips over the line.
Where's she from?
And everybody folds. I would hazard a guess, not Ireland.
Well, we hazarded a guess on a few other guys at the last feature table who didn't come up smelling a rose. I think the only foreigner was the guy with the Irish name.
Yeah. We can probably find out, actually, if we ask the tournament director. His fancy software does include the nationalities if they took it at the cash desk. But I have a feeling she's from Belgium, but I could be wrong.
I think poker's pretty big in Belgium now.
Up there. Raise all in. Fold. 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 Fold.
So Declan's moved all in again here.
Yeah, he's not going to want to hang about.
Yeah, I'm getting the impression that.
And that's Patrick Deleuze. So
Deleuze.
Yep.
I hope for Mr. Connolly's sake, he lives up to it.
Well, he's got Ace Queen of Diamonds, Patrick. So that's and Kings for Declan. So he's ahead, but
you'd probably be a little surprised to see that Declan's as strong as the Kings, as it's the second all-in move. And
yeah, well, that's when short stacks show up with a big hand. It's and he's doubled up.
Thank you.
He's actually knocked out Patrick. So Patrick actually called all in.
Sit up on official table.
To the short stacks clash, and Declan adds more to his stack, and we know from his form he knows what to do with chips.
Yep.
Interesting to find out what he had the first time.
Yeah. Well, this table does have the technology for hole cards, but we don't use it at this event. It's you have to run everything on a delay, and it's I don't know.
I prefer to watch it without the hole cards, to be honest with you.
I'm the same as well, to be honest, but I like to be able to sort of have to think about what the players have got. And
Fold.
I think showing the hole cards, in my opinion, kind of takes away a lot of the mystery of the game.
Yeah, but it's more fun doing commentary when you can't see the whole cards.
Yeah.
You can make a right proud of yourself.
Raise all in.
Okay.
Is that what that guy thinks?
We've had a lot of all-ins already on this table. That's the second time Anna's moved all in, and Declan's going to fold.
Yeah, I think some of the short stacks feel they're under pressure, and doesn't seem to be too much hanging around to see if you can get to the bubble and pick up the €350.
And we're only a few players off the bubble, so
we did say before that it was really refreshing to see everybody getting on with it.
Yeah, and this table seems no different, to be honest.
If you're playing an event at, say, the World Series, I mean, I'm sure you're only getting like 2/3 of the hands that you'd be getting here. The number of hands per hour has to be pretty good. And that, everybody's showing a bit of respect for the game and everybody else and getting on with it. And nobody's trying to look like a hero. And,
Fault.
generally, people start Hollywood and they only end up looking stupid. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
it's much easier to make a quick decision. You can say, well, I didn't really think about it. Well, if you think about it for 5 minutes and then drop a clanger.
And the thing is, if you make a quick decision, everybody's going to see more hands, so you've actually got more chance of finding a big hand because you're going to get more hands in the long run if you play quick.
90,000 raise.
So Anna, this is the third time she's moved all in since we got to the table, and she's going to get looked up by Tony here.
$123,000.
How many ladies played this event?
There was more than usual. It would be interesting to go through the actual registration list and see what percentage of the field are ladies here. Certainly to my eye, just wandering about, there seemed to be more than normal.
It's going to be 10,000 more, yeah?
Okay, so we have got Ace-Jack against Ace-King. The Ace-Jack is Anna's, and Ace-King for Tony. And Tony is the all-in player. 9-7-2 doesn't help anybody on the flop. 5 diamonds on the turn, and a king on the river. It hits Tony's hand, but it's meaningless. He was ahead anyway.
123,000.
And Tony's doubling up. And that leaves Anna pretty short.
123,000.
I've just been given the chip counts from the break. And
Highly professional organisation.
yep. The chip leader, when we restarted, was Steen Brocken. He had 489,000, and then
I
second.
suppose he's Irish as well, is he?
Yeah, I'd say so. From Stillorgan, I believe.
I think up there by the mill house.
Yeah. And Henrik, who's on the feature table, he's the guy. He's second in chips at the moment in the whole tournament with 486,000.
I gather this guy's got plenty of experience. If he's organising trips and everything.
Yeah, he first came to one of our events when we were still in the Balls Bridge running them, so about 3 or 4 years ago. They've been organising poker tours since then. Our event was one of the first that they brought players to back then. Here goes Anna. All in Anna.
Cool enough customer.
Yep, and Declan is going to give her a run for her money.
All in. Fold.
No, do not choke
Fold.
her. He said hold fire. Yeah.
Oh, and we must be pretty near the bubble because the tournament director has
All in the call.
asked them to hold up.
By the way, Anna is rolling up her iPod. She doesn't look like she's expecting to win this hand.
Yeah.
And this is the bubble, so if Anna loses this one, she's the unlucky bubble person. There was a suggestion of doing a saver for the bubble, so that's maybe why they're not.
I'd say Anna will be in now anyway. No, no, that's fine.
Yeah. So Declan's got ace queen. Anna has 9-10 of diamonds. That's live. She's from Spain. There you go.
Yeah, we're banging form today.
Is Irishman Declan Connolly, and Declan has ace queen offsuit. So we're all in player Anna has 9-10 of diamonds against Beckham's ace queen.
Okay, so
Now we're going to see flop.
see what happens here. We could be in the money.
Flop is
Oh, they
ace
both hit
on
it. So
so both players
Bit
have
cruel the way he put up that flop, wasn't it?
yeah, the 9
I
was
saw the
talking.
9 and the 2 first.
Yeah.
There's one diamond on the flop, and our only player has 2 diamonds. Now we're going to see the turn.
And there's the other ace, and I think
It's all over.
that's it. We've lost Anna, unfortunately, in 37th place.
Anna Segura, all the way from Spain, on the bubble in our main event. We have 36 players remaining. Congratulations.
In fairness, she doesn't look a bit more Spanish than
Yeah.
Belgian, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I think we should have figured that one out.
Oh, she doesn't look as happy as the other people have been knocked out. I suppose it's always awful to go out on the bubble of a big tournament like this.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun.
And it's not really about the money. Do you think it's just the prestige of
What's
cashing in
a
an
piece of
event?
cashing probably be a pretty big deal for a lot of these players. Like I know we said it before, but it's great to see the amateurs have their own event here because, sometimes, TV it's all about the top players and all of that, but they forget that, the game of poker belongs to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, the guy that's playing in the pub for 20 quid, he's as much entitled to call it his game as Phil Helmut is.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
Helmut might disagree, but it's true. Without the grassroots and without all the poker enthusiasts, there wouldn't be the top tier that there is. And sometimes, the top players forget that. A lot of guys forget where they came from very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere to get up to the top. So, just a slight pause now that we're in the money. I'm sure they'll be off and running again very shortly. The blinds at the moment are 5,000, 10,000 with an ante of 1,000.
Well, we're probably going to get another couple of players.
Yeah, they should be breaking a table actually. So,
That's
well
not
spotted,
probably-
Porrick, well spotted.
It's the first time I've ever spotted that one. I just copied what you said earlier.
yeah.
I'm not going to take all the credit.
Okay, so we need to get the names and chip stacks for them to.
Hello.
Not good seeing you.
This is a good amateur game. The guys come along with his cup of coffee, the paper, in case he gets
Yeah.
bored.
I think I might recognise that player. I'm not sure. Is that John Hannafy? Is it?
Well, it could be.
A local Dublin player. Plays a lot of our events. I think
How many events have you guys got?
we do 2 festivals in Ireland now a year. We started off. We ran a weekly tournament in the Europa Hotel just outside Drogheda. May 2004, €50 rebuy. Me and Brian guaranteed €7,500 prize pool, and
How much did that cost you?
we actually made it by the skin of our teeth. I think we had about 70 odd players there, and the rebuys got us there in the end. And that is Mark Atkinson in seat 6 from the Bridge Club up north. There was
Thank you.
nearly 50 of them came down from the Bridge Club.
Is that the Bridge North Bridge Club?
Bridge Club used to be Ivan Donahue's club,
Oh, yeah.
but I think Mark takes care of a lot of the running of that. Nice guy, Mark. We did a few events with him a couple of years ago.
All those Northern Ireland players are great travellers to these things. And
Oh, yeah.
They certainly add an awful lot to it. I love the Northern Ireland sense of humour, sort of a kind of a gallows kind of humour. Any day you don't die is a good day.
Yeah.
This kind of thing.
When I first came
If you
to
don't expect too much, you won't be disappointed.
When I first came to Ireland, I was working in Newry by day and living in Drogheda by night, and I saw some interesting things those first year or so I was over here.
I'd imagine you did.
But yeah, that's definitely John Hannafy. So we do have quite a few Irish players on this table now. Certainly 4 in a row from seat 6 are definitely Irish. Albie's gone off of my sheet, so
I see this event's been supported by Bertie Hearn. He was in Centra yesterday.
Yeah.
Does that
No,
count?
I'm not working the next
I
few
think he
days.
drinks in one of the pubs just down the road, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Fagan's, is it?
Not anymore.
No?
Oh, I drink there more than Bertie does. I haven't seen him in there in years. He used to be in there every night.
Thank you.
Funny that.
Yeah. Okay, and we'll be underway very shortly. We're just getting these new players' details into the computer, and the clock's paused anyway for everybody else, so then they're not losing any time while we get all this sorted out.
That's good.
No kicking in always.
You know, some players see being on the feature table, as, you know, especially if it's streamed or televised, has been a bit of a disadvantage because you tend to get far fewer hands
Yeah, I mean,
with all the TV stuff going on.
there is going to be the odd that the D's are told to do things just slightly slower, but they shouldn't hopefully get too much
No,
of a
the
difference.
West been going along dipping. I mean, they're practically sprinting along today.
Yeah. So the guy in seat 4 that we don't know is Rasmus
Oh, yeah.
Adjers.
Belgian.
Yeah, I would guess he's a Scandinavian of some description is where I put my money.
We are into the money. Dealers, all in and call at your table. Please announce all in and call at
You have to produce ID when you give your name here because there's been a couple of pretty funny ones.
Yeah, but the Europeans tend to have their passport with them. We do take it off them, and we set up a new membership card thing for this event, so these should be the right names.
You know, I just had a couple of these guys who were having a laugh.
We can cross off Patrick Deleuze from our list anyway. He's gone.
One of you will take on the title of ACOM 2014 and €12,400. Okay, without further ado, we are going to continue on the same level. 5,000, 10,000, 91,000. Dealers, begin the deal, please.
Good luck.
You need it to get.
Okay, so we're back off and running, and looks like the button is with Tony in seat 9, Stephen McLean in the small blind, Martin's Brews in the big blind. Then we have Rasmus Adjers in
Great,
seat
thanks,
4. He's just said hello to the table with a raise.
Fine.
Henrik Christensen in seat
So
5.
you could be right about the Scandinavian bit then.
Yeah,
The
Mark A-
Scandinavians do like a raise now and again, don't
yeah,
they?
just the odd one.
Fold.
And then we've got the row of Irish players at the end. Mark Atkinson in seat 6, John Hannafy in 7, Declan Connolly in 8, and Tony Nellis in seat 9. And Sean Byrne in seat 3. So we've only got the 3 Europeans at this table. Let's see if the Irish gang up on them. Henrik is one of the chip leaders in the tournament. He's in the top 3 with 480,000.
Have we any idea what an average stack is?
Average stack must be somewhere around 240, 250, I'd say. So we've about 10%, just over 10% of the field left,
Oh, very good.
and they start with 25,000. So
Fold. Fold. Fold.
227, I've just been told, is the average stack,
Fold.
which
Very
is,
good.
by my maths, that's 44 big blinds or something. The average stack, which is quite deep for this stage of a tournament, I'd say. What do you think?
Great.
Yeah.
20,000.
But 20 big blinds too many.
Fold.
So that's
Well, you know, I think the way they've been getting on with it today and you know, playing so many hands and knocking so many people out, they're actually giving themselves a better chance of skill prevailing
Yeah, I suppose the quicker players are eliminated, the slower the average stack drops, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, theoretically.
Yeah.
Except in the Bergata. It's the double.
I remember having a discussion with Nicky Power about one of our events. There was like a 3-hour bubble, so the average stack dropped quite low, and I suggested, well, it was the style of play. Everybody was hanging on to get into the money, but that made the average stack drop so much. But it soon crept back up when they started busting out every hand after that.
Fold.
3-hour bubble.
Fold.
That was
Good Lord.
one of our deep stack events, yeah.
Fold.
I think there was a 4-hour bubble in Monte Carlo a couple of years ago.
Fold.
And somewhere in the middle, I had a piece of Surinder Sooner. He doubled up in the bubble and still finished on the bubble.
I like Surinder. Surinder's a nice fella. He's come over to a few of our
Raise
events before.
20,000.
Yeah, Surinder's been a big supporter of Irish poker since before I started playing.
Yeah.
You know, he used to play in the Irish Open, you know, way back.
Yeah. Is there any truth in that? I remember
Really
chatting to
funny.
Mickey Wernick one day in the UK at a poker
Probably
event, and,
not if you were talking to Mickey Wernick.
and I'm sure he told me that Surinder used to be his personal assistant at some point back in the day.
Oh yeah, I said there's every chance that's the case. And Mickey's another guy who's got some stats in Ireland.
Yeah, unfortunately, I heard recently he's not too well at the moment, so we wish him all the best. He's a
I did inquire after his health
Fine.
last week and was told he was exaggerating.
all right.
Hoping they'd run a tournament for him, but I thought that was a little harsh. No. Don't know, and Mickey.
Yeah, Sean's all in the seat 3 there, and everybody's folded. So
You know, back in the day, there used to be an Irish Open, and then, you know, sometime around about November time, there was an Irish Closed Championship in the Eccentrics Club, which was obviously limited to Irish players.
yeah,
But Surinder used to play in it every year. And I think Derek Webb, who was not very Irish either, but that was the Eccentrics Club for you know. I don't think Terry ever had a rule that there wasn't an exception to. But I think he had a rule 16, and that's that the tournament director is always right, even if he's wrong. Which, if you think about it, is a great rule.
it is. Looks like Tony's up to something here in seat 9.
Raise 25,000.
25,000 raised. Stephen McLean is next to speak.
Fold.
He's going to fold.
Fold.
You know, I remember back in the day in the Eccentrics Club,
Fold.
Dave Banzai Jackson, who won an Irish Open, was we were playing the Tuesday night tournament, and Banzai has moved all in from the 9 seat.
Two players.
Flop here. Yeah.
So he got called, but the dealers pulled in his cards. And Terry gave the ruling that the hand was dead.
Check.
And then Banzai said, well, she took it. And he said, well, you have to put a chip
That's
on your
25,000.
cards, Terry said to Jackson. He said, well, I didn't have any chips, I was all in. And then he said, well, why don't you use a lighter or a box of matches? And Jacko says, well, yeah, but I don't smoke. And Rogers then turned the ruling over and said, give that man back his hand. That was what the Eccentrics Club used to be like.
That reminds me of that famous it was Nicky Power hand, wasn't it, against can't remember who it was against now, but it was at the Irish Open when he moved all in against Roland de Wolf, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he realised the dealer had mucked his cards, and he just.
Well, that was my fault.
Oh, were you on the table as well? Were you?
No, I had done it about 10 years previously
right.
in the club in Rap Mines when the dealer was drunk and took in my hand, and I moved all in on the flop and got through. But, you know, that was a £100 tournament,
Yeah.
you know, with 3 tables or something. But
Fold.
I've heard the story told back over and over again by people who said they were there. You know, it's like the number of people that were in the GPO in 1916. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and the last time I heard the story told, there was 30,000 cash in the pot.
Fold.
And then you get, isn't that right, Porrick? What are you supposed to say? But I told Nicky this story over a beer, and
Yeah.
when that happened, when Nicky's was obviously way more ballsy than mine was. I mean, this
Yeah.
was for serious money.
Yeah.
That happened maybe 2 tables out in the Irish Open.
Yeah, I was actually reporting on it, so I was stood right behind him at the time.
So Nicky didn't panic. He knew what to do.
Yeah.
Just put your hands on the table and say you're all in.
Yeah.
But it was very, very ballsy because I think Nicky might have cashed for like 100,000 in that for finishing 6th or 7th, or
Yeah, I think it was the year he made the final table.
Well, yeah, it was. I think there was 2 lads from Waterford, Nicky Power and the Fox, were at the final table that year.
Was that the year Marty won it, or was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the great chop-ups of all time. Flood got the figures wrong. They paid out 200,000 too much. It's no wonder everybody agreed to the deal so quickly.
Did they ever correct it, or?
Fold.
Yeah, well, they did. But it was like the day after the tournament, they found out they'd paid out 200,000 too much. And I think
Raise
I got
all
a
in.
phone call. I was in Vegas, and all the players
Yeah.
that were at the final
Fine.
table were there at the
Oh,
time.
Martins has gone all in here at the feature table. Let's see if he gets any action.
99,000. Fold.
Henrik's fold, Mark
Fold.
folds, and just John Hannafy left in the big blind by the looks of it.
99,000.
John's a good supporter of these types of games as well. If you come to a sort of
Yeah.
reasonable buy-in event, he's always there, and I think he always tries to qualify for the Irish Open.
Fold.
I call you all day with Jack Eight.
This table
Stephen
seems a-
McLean has started talking a
Yeah.
big game. Now, he hasn't played a hand yet, but he's telling him what he would do if he did have a hand.
yeah, I think this table's going to be a bit. The last table, although they were playing fast on the last table, there wasn't that much talk going on. I suppose everybody's a bit more relaxed now. They're in the money, so they can open up a bit. I suppose. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Very nice. Just with breakfast and everything. So.
I don't think we've got too many short stacks here.
Twin,
Yeah.
89 single.
You often find after the bubble that, there's a flurry of activity, obviously, as
Yeah.
a whole load of guys have been anteing themselves down and
It's the whole hotel is redone. Like they're normally.
then try and make up the lost ground after they've gone through the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5-star hotel. Like.
Good man, Stephen, advertising the Irish Open on the live stream. Take advantage of every opportunity you've got.
Raise
It's okay,
23,000.
Stephen, we've
Fold.
done it already.
So Henrik's raising it up in seat 5.
Yeah.
No, like all messing aside, I think Stephen says they were expecting to get more than the 500 they
Re-raise
got last year.
55,000. Fold.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a competitor to us, but the Irish Open does mean a lot for Irish poker, and if that does well, then everybody else in Irish poker
Oh,
does
yeah.
well. So
Well, that's our flagship. It's kind of a shame to see the Irish Open. It's kind of slid down from a must-attend tournament
Call.
yeah,
to probably won't. And that on top of the recession. I think that there's so many tournaments in Europe now, and
oh yeah, and a lot of the UK players have so much to choose from over there as well. There used to be a lot of UK players came over
Oh,
for the Irish
yeah.
Open, didn't they? So we've got a flop between Henrik and John here, and John has bet out
46,000 bet.
46,000 into 129,000 pot. King Jack 3 with 2 spades. It's up to Henrik in seat 5. It was Henrik who raised pre-flop,
Fold.
and he folds.
Jack show.
Shows a jack.
You're one of them as well, did you? Nice bet.
I think he showed the jack to try to.
Oh, he's ace 10 he showed. Show the bluff. Well, so
I think.
he knew a queen was coming.
I'm not a big fan of showing hands, especially the less experience you are, the less hands that you should show.
Yeah.
Because you're giving away everything's free information.
Yeah.
I know in that case where Henrik showed the jack, he was trying to get the other guy to show his hand. I think you'd rather not have seen it now.
Do you ever, like, if you've raised a lot of pots, do you get to a point where you think, well, if I raise and everybody folds, I should show them
Fold.
something to know that I have keep having it or not?
Well, normally when guys do that, you get the inference that if he's showing you this, that's exactly why he's doing it.
Yeah, so he didn't have it the last time.
So if you did have any doubts about the previous 4, well,
Right,
That's confirmation, is it?
yeah.
Fold. Fold.
So there's Rasmus raising it up in seat 4.
You know, showing the hand. But just as a rough rule, it's a good idea not to that you're often giving away more information than you're getting, or than you're getting credibility by doing it.
Yeah.
You know, people aren't stupid completely. You know, it's a bit like the old one used to be. You know, when you've raised 4 or 5 pots, and then finally you show the ace of spades after one of the raises. You know, it's the same story. Like, I mean, why didn't you show us the other one?
Yeah, exactly.
Players, please take your seats. And we're about to draw for a button now on table 25.
You know, it's amazing in poker how often a guy's table image and the table image that he thinks he has can be just poles apart.
Yeah, 2 completely different things. I suppose that's part of the game, innit? If you can master getting the table to believe what you want them to believe.
That's always been why the psychology is a lot more important than the maths.
Yeah.
But it is amazing when you get guys come in and they tell you what they think their table image was. If you've been sitting at the table, you go, "What are you like? Are you kidding me?" We knew you were a nut job.
Yeah.
Fold.
We got here Sean Byrne in seat 3. Looks like he's gonna come into the pot, and he does with a raise.
Series of players in the London tournament. booked in
26,000.
seat 7. Please
Fold.
Facebook from seat 7.
Fold. Fold. Fold.
And dealers, you can prepare the deck. We'll be dealing in 30 seconds. Our
Just the
first
blinds to
level
go
is
through.
95.
Stephen McLean in the big blind there in seat 1. It's quite possibly the longest we've seen anybody think about doing something the whole time we've been
Well,
commentating.
Stephen doesn't think all that quickly.
Okay, dealers and players in the 100 tournament. Our first level is 25 and 50.
Does he know the actions on him?
Now, please.
Is he awake?
All in, call.
Oh, all in and a call.
All in, call.
So the weights seem to be
All in, call.
a real
Return
decision.
paper. Just push your bigger stack in front of you, please. All the stack.
Don't want to have to throw my hand over.
Oh, did he say he don't want to turn his hand over? So Stephen was at it, was he?
Yeah,
Let's have a look, Stephen. The whole world can see what you've got.
show down your
We know you're an optimist in some things,
6,
and
9.
yep,
Ace
he's 9-6 against Ace Queen. He's not as far behind as people would think when they first come into poker, and there you go, he's hit his 9. And a 7, ace or a queen needed here for Sean, and that's
6, 9.
a bit unlucky. He caught Stephen McLean right at it there, didn't he, Porrig?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, we were talking about table image. I'm sure Stephen probably... We haven't seen what happened beforehand, but since I've got here, Stephen hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
So I assumed that Stephen was using the dwell up and the all-in move to give the impression that, you know, I haven't played a hand so far. So
Yeah, but it was a snap call all in with Sean.
but he had long enough to think about
Yeah,
it.
he was like,
I mean, Stephen did give it a big long dwell up. He could have
Yeah.
thought, well, what am I going to do if he doubles the big line?
Yeah.
What am I going to do if he trebles it? What am I going to do? Down to what am I going to do if he's all in? I'm going to
Yeah.
call it.
so we lose one. He will go home with some money though, €350.
Ace Queen hasn't been a very lucky hand at this table.
No. So there's Stephen now has 464,000, and Henrik's dropped down to 391,000. So Stephen's up there in the top chip counts in the tournament.
He showed me ace jack twice yesterday.
All.
never
Probably
raised.
chip leader at this table anyway.
So, ace jack and down, he was saying he'd fold.
Fold, fold.
Well, Stephen's given us a good explanation of why he made that move.
Probably a very
Raise
good
to
idea.
23,000. Fold.
He's like, well, I'm never going to do it again, so
Yeah, well,
I promise that's the only time in my life I've ever done that with the 9-6.
Fold.
and I had a very good reason.
Yeah, yeah. It was like this.
2 players.
So this is Declan and Stevens in the pot again now, tangling with Declan Connolly, the
Check.
European deep stack champion.
2000 and something.
I think it was last year.
Bet 24,000. Fold.
Nice bet.
How many chips do you get in the deep stack?
100,000 this year. For 6 years it was 50,000, and they say imitation is one of the highest forms of flattery. A lot of tours duplicated what we did, so everybody can play that tournament now. It's not as unique as it was, so we've changed it up a little bit. But we've also changed the levels as well, so instead of being an hour clock all the way through, the first day it's 45 minutes, then it goes to an hour the second day, 75 minutes the third day, and 90 minutes for the final. So
Oh, I like that. That's pretty smart. Obviously, you didn't think of it.
no, that
Sorry, I couldn't.
credit where credit's due. The increase in stack was Brian, and the
Check or bet.
levels was me. So, but when we don't have PokerStars backing us, so to attract people to tournaments, we've got to try and
26,000. Fold.
think a bit
Fold.
outside the box
Fold.
with what's going to bring players over without the online qualifiers. So
Fold.
the events we do tend to be a bit different. So we've got the ACOP, we've got the Deep Stack, and then in September we have Europe's biggest Six Max festival.
Here's a gentleman, see that?
Yeah, 29.
Well, you got a huge number of runners for that this year, didn't you?
Yeah, 1,086, which I believe is the biggest Six Max poker event in Europe. And I think there's obviously bigger ones at the World Series, but
Not even sure about that.
I
Don't know.
that's a fun event, and again, there's lots of players from all over the place. That one is a lot of French players because it's sponsored by Winamax. But that's fun as well. Winamax put a lot behind it. We have the I don't know if you saw any of the pictures from it
Raise,
last year.
fold.
They had the
Fold,
sheep. A sheep
fold.
was the theme of the tournament.
Oh, is that what that was about? I saw some stuff from Beckus on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. They did some good videos for before the event of what happens in Dublin stays in Dublin.
I saw that, but I assumed that was supposed to mean that you could play under any name you liked, and the French taxman who's been very active these days wouldn't hear about it.
But it was good. The
I thought that was just a bit of discreet advertising.
the runner-up was on the November 9 later on in the year. Sylvain Loosely at Winamax signed. He ended up being runner-up in our tournament and then went off to play the November 9 the next month. Well, you get a couple of random surprises at these small tournaments. One year when we were in the Balls Bridge, I got an email from Jonathan Duhamel just after he'd won the World Series bracelet, asking if we could sort him out a room. He wanted to pay for it and everything to come and play one of our tournaments. And I thought somebody was winding me up, but no, he showed up,
Raise.
played a
27,000.
500 quid tournament.
Fold.
Oh,
Fold.
fair play to
And we
him.
didn't. It wasn't like we contacted him or anything. He just decided he was in the area and he wanted to come and play. So he's
Well,
actually
I
a
played
really
with him a
nice
couple
guy.
of times. He seemed like a very nice fella.
Yeah.
I hadn't a clue who he was.
Fold.
After about 5 hours, somebody told me that's the world champion.
And we've got Rasmus's all in. Rasmus has played a few pots since he started this table. This is the first time we've seen him go all in, though. And it's over a raise from Tony by the looks of it. Tony looks like he raised to 27 and Rasmus has moved all in. Tony's folded, so...
o'clock from there? 32, 7 o'clock, is it? The website's closed.
Actually, Tony didn't take too long thinking about it, so
No.
Money is a safe.
I get the impression that he might have had air.
Yeah, he's in quite late position there, wasn't he? He was on the hijack.
It's the same
Or
money
the
for 30
cut off.
seconds, 19th.
Cut off.
One of them.
I don't know the poker terms, Porrig. You know me, I don't really play poker that much, so put me right if I get it wrong.
Long road to go, isn't it?
Fold.
12 hours.
Won't be 12 hours from now, will it?
Fold.
Not for me, anyway.
Fold.
Fast pass from Stephen. He obviously didn't have the 9-6.
No.
Fold.
Must have been 8-8-5. Exact range. Here's Henrik on the button.
Raise to 20,000.
He's got quite a big stack, so what do you think he can raise with anything there, can he, Porrig?
Well, he almost has to.
Fold.
And John says, I think you're raising with anything there. I'm going to have a look.
2 players.
King of spades, 4 of spades, 6 of clubs on the flop.
Check.
Both players check.
Check or bet.
And 6 of diamonds pairs the board on the turn.
Check.
And John's check to Henrik. Henrik is going to bet this one, I think.
Bet.
John
Fold.
folds. Away we go. We're not going to see what he's got. Did you see that, Porrig, when it flicked up towards the camera?
I thought he was done with showing hands after we showed that jack. Kind of backfired a little bit. didn't
Yeah.
it? That's one we should be looking out for. That there could be a clash between those two guys again.
Yeah, so there'll be a bit of mind games at play there, you think?
Yeah.
Fold.
Got actions on Stephen here. Must have higher than a 9 because he's thinking about something.
25.
Raise to 25,000. Fold. Fold.
I think this is only the second hand we've seen Stephen play.
Yep, and Henrik's thinking about it, and these are the 2 biggest stacks on the table, so this could be interesting. And Henrik's thinking he had 9-6. He had 9-6.
Yeah, this is it becomes a bit difficult, when you've got
Yeah.
caught with the 9-6, you begin to wonder what everybody thinking I'm a nutcase, or
51,000.
will they all think that I'm going to have a premium hand the next time I do it?
Yeah, and Henrik's raised him, so there's a re-raise here from Henrik to
Fold.
Well,
51,000.
you'd assume Henrik has to have a pretty decent hand here, on the basis that this is the first.
And Stephen's asked him how much he's got. Well, he's got nearly as much as you, Stephen, is the answer. So if they get it all in, unless they chop
Call.
it, there's going to be a new chip leader in the tournament, I'd say. Stephen calls, so we got 125,000 in the middle, and the flop is all diamonds, king, queen, 8. So
Check.
there's potential for action, you think?
I think they're both supposed to have a little piece of this.
Yeah. And they both check king of clubs on the turn.
Check.
Stephen checks.
Check.
And check again. Very cautious. 3 of clubs on the river. Shouldn't change things, should it, Porrig?
No, diamond would have been a bit of fun.
Yeah.
40k.
40,000 bet.
Stephen's going to bet 40,000. So it's a third of the pot. What's that supposed to mean? Is it mean he wants a call? Or is
Well,
that what?
it looks like he wants a call.
Yep, Henrik has called. Stephen flips over.
Queen.
Oh, ace queen for Henrik and 3-5 for Stephen. So Henrik's made a good call there with second pair. Is that an easy call, Porrig?
Yeah.
And now,
he's only bet a third of the pot. You know, he can well afford it. He'd probably bet a king on the turn. Like I thought Stephen might have the queen there, it'd be better for value. But you know, with the 3 diamonds out there, you'd imagine if Stephen had a king that he'd have tried to protect the hand on the turn.
yeah. Well, Stephen did. I think he hit a 3 on the river to go with his 3-5 in his hand. So.
Oh, he hit a pair of 2s. It's something he could have checked with.
Yeah.
You know, he can beat ace jack.
Fold.
That's about all, I think.
Does he have to tighten up now that he's now shown down 2 pretty mediocre starting hands? Like he called a re-raise there with
two very
with the
mediocre
3-5.
starting hands. Yeah, I think he does.
Raise to 26,000. Fold. Fold. Fold.
Maybe it's a subtle advertising plan for the Irish Open. He's saying this is how bad the Irish poker players, or not bad, but this is how loose the Irish poker players are.
Yes,
Come and play our event.
I'm doing the training videos on Paddy Powers. You'll be all right. It was a bit strange there from Steve. Well, to be honest, I thought Stephen was stronger than, well, when he made the raise before the flop.
Yeah.
I think calling the re-raise was a little frisky.
Yeah, because he wasn't even in position there, was he? Henrik had position on Stephen in that hand.
Small blind, 5,000.
You know, sometimes when you get caught with both hands in the cookie jar, it's a good idea to just say, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
Putting 2 legs in as well.
Okay, well, Stephen's in the big blind now anyway, and it's folded round to Henrik. And Mark Atkinson's moved all in.
Raise, all in, fold.
First time we've seen Mark in a pot, I think.
Fold.
And he's put all his chips in the middle. Stephen's in the big blind.
20 total, is it?
He looks to be taking this quite seriously. Well, Stephen must be down. Down to maybe 350 now or something like that.
Yeah, we can get Albie to bring the chip counts up on screen, I think, after this hand, if he'll oblige nicely. There we go. Yep, Henrik's back in the lead with 561, and Stephen's down to 332. And Martins is the short stack on the table with 97,000, which is just under 10 big blinds. In fact, sorry, the blinds have gone up. I never noticed that. 6,000, 12,000 now. So that's 8 big blinds for Martins.
Yeah, which is just under 10.
Just under 10, yeah.
Should have kept your mouth shut there.
Yeah, I should have done. It's Owen Oland's fault.
As there are a lot of things.
He did say he was going to come in and join us on the stream later today, but I'm not sure he's going to make it down.
Yeah, but it's one thing when you say it at 8 o'clock in the morning and mean it.
Yeah. Henrik's raising again, so he's got the big stack. He's playing a lot of pots now, isn't he?
Fold, fold, fold. Fold.
And it's the short stack in the big blind. So he's got
Re-raise, all in.
He's moved all in.
Fold.
An instant call from Henrik.
Push one big stack in front of you. The big stack in front of you.
So what's Henrik got here? Pocket nines against
All in and
King
the
Jack.
fold
So
center table.
that's what they call a race.
All in the call.
They hit.
Didn't hear you.
You know, we were talking about, you know, the dynamics of the table and,
I think I did.
you know, table images and all of that. But, you know, you got to bear in mind that, like, we haven't seen, you know, what's been going on.
All in,
No,
and
no,
the call
on
center
before they
since
came
this
here.
morning.
Yeah.
So, you know, that hand between Stephen and Henrik might be a result of something that happened earlier.
Yeah. Okay, and there we go. That's the end of Martins. Henrik adds to his growing chip stack. That takes him over 600,000 now. certainly the chip leader on this table, quite possibly the chip leader in the whole tournament. We go 670,000, more than double his nearest competitor on this table, which is Stephen, still in seat 1 with 325,000.
I think it's got quite interesting in that 2, 3, 4. How many players are there?
We have 7.
7, and I think 5 of them are probably below average at the moment.
Yeah. Well, there's the 4 of them there are just below average, and then Henrik way up there. He can double anybody up and still be in second or third position on the table.
Yeah, it's a nice spot to be in, isn't it?
Fold. Fold.
He knows that whatever happens in a hand, he's still going to be in the game the next hand. He knows he can't go bust at the moment.
I wouldn't be surprised if the next big clash was to be between Stephen and Henrik.
Well, this one Declan's opened up, and action's on Stephen again. And Stephen seems to like to take a little bit of time over his decisions.
Well, we haven't seen him with a hand yet that adds up to more than 15, so
No.
he's entitled to give it a bit of thought.
Yeah.
Fold.
Okay, and Rasmus has called here, so we're going to see a flop. Queen to 7, 2 hearts.
And Declan has been pretty inactive for.
Well, he doubled up, didn't he? Knocking some, well, almost doubled up, knocking somebody out, and that's really all we've seen of him, I think.
Fold.
He's bet, and Rasmus has called. Nearly 100,000 in the middle at this point. The Queen of Clubs on the turn.
Check.
Checked by both players, and the 7 on the river. So double paired board there. Check from Rasmus. Declan going to bet again.
28,000 bet.
28 for Rasmus to call. Looks like he is.
So there's a pretty good chance Declan is bluffing here.
Yeah,
Call.
he's called. I can't.
Call.
He won the pot, so he had a 9 in his hand. So we're just gonna have to go and have a word with the dealer and make sure that she brings the cards into view so we can see them. Albie to the rescue.
I couldn't see them up here.
Not sure what Rasmus called with there, but
Well, yeah, I saw a 9. I couldn't see what the other card was, but Declan bunked his cards pretty much straight away. I think he didn't even bother showing them, did he?
yeah,
Sorry, it's your call.
it didn't look like it very much.
Do you think maybe he had a pair that was less than the 2 pairs on the board that he thought he had to bet on the river because he was counterfeited or something like that?
That's a possibility.
Here's John Hannafy. We haven't seen much of him either.
Raise to 22,000. Fold. 24 should be.
Oh,
It's 12, yeah.
How much
Good
is
man,
it?
Stephen.
How much is it? How much have you left?
Don't
How much
make-
have I left? What's for dinner?
don't make mistakes when there's a tournament director on the table because he's soon going to put it right.
Fold.
And a good tournament director too,
Yeah,
to be fair to him.
Fold.
Oh, I mean, he gets good numbers at the IPO and he's
He
involved
gets,
with.
he gets fantastic numbers at the IPO.
And
The makeup girl.
John wins that pot with a raise.
How are you doing? Okay, so what do you have? Okay, tough to get away from.
Fold. Fold.
Okay, so Mark Atkinson is in the big blind, Henrik's in the small blind, and action's on Tony. Looks like he's going to put some chips into the pot here. Makes a raise.
Raise to 30,000.
I think he got caught having a pop the last time he stepped out.
Yeah, it was Rasmus came over the top of him, wasn't it, earlier?
Fold.
It was a quick re-raise and
And a fold, but he's won this time.
fold. Has it stopped again?
Fold. Fold.
Folded round to Stephen, who's going to raise.
Raise to 32,000. Fold.
Was it the main event at the Aussie Millions that Stephen went with, or was it a side event?
No, I'm pretty sure it was the main event. It was quite a long time ago.
Call.
As I think he was living over there at the time.
Fold.
And Henrik likes to play with Stephen, I think. Henrik's called the raise from Stephen McLean. Now,
Well,
John.
we were predicting that this might be the next clash.
Well, to be fair, you predicted it, Porig. We take credit where credit's due. John Hannafy's looks quite interested here.
Could be contemplating the squeeze.
Yeah, John's around 200,000, doesn't he? So. No, thinks better of it. Leave the two big stacks to play with each other.
Two players.
Oh, here we goes the flop. Jack, Jack 5, 2 diamonds.
40,000.
Stephen's coming out firing on the flop. This time it's Henrik who's having a think about what he's going to do next. Stephen's doing a good impression of a statue.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. Sure, I've seen him on Grafton Street.
Raise.
And Henrik's raising him again.
Should be 80. Should be 80,000.
I mean, the
He's
beauty
not
of this pot from Henrik's point of view is that
It has to be double.
he's got so many chips he can afford to be fruity here. So
Yeah.
40,000.
Well, and Stephen can think that as well. He's thinking, well, he's got a lot of chips.
I think he's just doubled the bet.
Yeah, initially he didn't put in enough for a raise, but he said raise, so the dealer's made it up to a minimum raise.
Re-raise. All in.
And Stephen's going all in,
Call.
and
Just
Henrik
just
instant call. And was that an R from Stephen?
Push your stack in front of you. Push one stack in front.
Ace
Or
eight
if
for
Pocket
Stephen.
nines,
Future
instant call with
table.
pocket nines from Henrik there.
Well,
Stephen
one of
needs
us
to
did
hit
predict
an ace.
this. Did predict this was
Yeah.
going to happen.
Needs an ace and he misses. Queen of hearts on the river, so we lose Stephen McLean, and Henrik stack just keeps on growing. That probably takes him up to nigh on 1 million chips, I'd say. Could be the first player in the tournament through the 1 million chip barrier anyway. We'll see if Albie nicely brings up the chip counts at the end of this hand. We'll see if he has broken through.
I'd imagine he has.
Oh, nearly. 6,000 out.
I'd imagine it's close.
It's,
Oh, it's not.
we'll call it 1 million.
So Stephen has dusted off 500,000 in pretty quick time. I mean,
Yep.
Sit open.
You certainly can't fault his bottle. I can see how he might have finished third in the Aussie Millions.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see him with a hand, did we? In all the
No.
hands we saw, he was at it.
Yeah, 9-6, 5-3 and ace-8.
Poker players don't seem to have as many nicknames as did before. Just to mention that I remember there was an English poker player called Ian Attit Bradley from up north somewhere in Newcastle. I haven't seen him for years. A nice chap.
Yeah.
But poker players don't. There's not as many nicknames around, is there?
No. Not as many characters around either.
No. We were talking about Mickey Wernick. He was the Worm, wasn't he?
But then he got a sponsorship deal and he became the legend
Oh,
overnight.
yeah. The leg end.
I mean, come on, he's the Worm. Come on. Mickey was one of those great characters who'd be, God knows how many bankrolls he went through. But, I mean, and a good man to press.
Yeah.
But you know, Mickey going roller coaster rides. I mean, he was playing there was a fairly big private game in Birmingham at one stage.
Would that be the one at the Rainbow or somewhere else?
No, I think it was in Osties or
Yeah, I've
some slightly unofficial casino.
the only place I've been in Birmingham to play is the Broadway.
I think the Rainbow's gone, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
I played a tournament at the Rainbow once. I think they were playing 11-handed in the restaurant. It was fantastic stuff.
And that was like, didn't at the World Series they had to put extra tables in Binions and people were playing by slot machines and fire exits. The first year it got reasonably big. Was it the year?
Oh yeah, they were
Moneymaker
playing
won?
11 and 12-handed at some tables because the fire department came along and closed down the tables that were out by the street. So,
Right.
so just take a seat anywhere you like.
Yeah. I mean, that was before my time. The first time I went to Vegas for the World Series was
Don't know how to.
when me and Tom Murphy blagged some money from Paddy Power to go and cover the Irish on Antes Up.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
And Andy Black made the final table, so it was.
Yeah, that was marvelous.
It was my first experience of. I'm glad I got there when at least part of it was in Binions.
But I think Scott Gray played the World Series that year. I think he was playing on a table out in the street before all this, before
Yeah.
they got stopped, and said he got knocked out before he even made it into the casino.
Scott's a good man for stories. Actually, I love sitting and listening to Scott tell his tales.
He's got a few of them. I think the World Series. I think there was a whole bunch of tables in the Golden Nugget one year. I'm not sure what that was all about.
Well, we're going to have a quick break here by the looks of it. The feature table was next on the list to be broken, so we'll be back in 5 minutes when action restarts.
This is going to be table 2. Guys, I'm just going to call out who's on table 1. So you just have a little listen for your name, please. I'm going to call out who's on table 1. Table 1 is just here. John Hannafy, seat 1. Daniel Fox, seat 2. Niall Smith, seat 3. Rasmus Adgers, seat 4. Niall Dowds, seat 5. Fionn Sherry, seat 6. Anthony Cowan, seat 7. Mario Alina, seat 8. And Shay Devlin, seat 9. So that's table 1 there. Table 2 is going to be on the TV table. Table 2 in seat 1, Andrew Brennan. Seat 2, Mark Atkinson. Seat 3, Gil Simao. Seat 4, Dermot Kennedy. Seat 5, Declan Connolly. Seat 6, Con Collins. 7 is Olivier Steiner. Seat 8, Henry Christasson. And seat 9, Tony Nels. That's TV table 2.
You don't have to move.
Table 3, seat 1. C3, Hanger.
7. That one is 7.
C4, Tony Martin.
I'm not sure, but I think I'm
Daly.
C7.
C6, Nigel Miller. C7, Aidan O'Reilly. C8, Mark Atwood. And C9, Jan Gerard Scott.
We're gonna ask him.
I think when you were here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask him now. Did you ask him?
You two now, you're still in, aren't you? Good luck. Cheers, Greg.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, cheers, bro.
Is there a small table next to you? The small table for the drinks?
The small what?
Table for the drinks. Do you have it there? Oh, you don't have it.
Oh, yeah,
Are you gonna use that?
May. Why do I have 2 chairs?
That's the easiest. Let me see, I think it's...
I was just going to double check everyone is in the correct seat, please. Seat 1, Andrew Brennan. Mark Atkinson, Gill, Dermot Kennedy, Declan Connolly, Con Collins, Olivier Steiner.
Yep.
Henry and Tony Nellis.
155.
I'll take the rug, please.
I have my wedding.
Oh, you had to dump that?
Run good. 190k. 190. Traveling down.
100, 180?
155.
Yeah. Shops there.
Do you know how much?
Don't do it against me.
Roughly. You can do that.
Yeah.
A few times.
Unless you want it.
If not, you get the chips from me.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, main event players. We're currently playing level 19. We've got half an hour left in it. Then we play 20 and you've got a 15-minute break. When we come back, we'll play 3 more levels, which will bring us up to the end of level 23. And then you'll have a 1-hour dinner break. That's at 10 to 8. Okay? So around 8 p.m. we might lose a little bit of time on these regions. So at the end of level 23, at about 8 o'clock, you'll have a 1-hour dinner. Okay?
235, 240.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, buttons being drawn to C4. And our current level is 6,000, 12,000, anti 1,000.
Your auntie, 1,000, please. Aunties. Auntie, please. 1,000. Your auntie, please, when you're ready. Thank you.
Okay, we're just waiting for the TV guys to put the
So we are just about to restart. In seat 1, we have Andrew Brennan, and he's got 204,000 chips. Mark Atkinson, who was here before, is in seat 2 with 120,000. Gil Sameo from Portugal, 235,000. Dermot Kelly, 190,000. Declan Connolly, who was here before, 135,000. Con Collins has 215,000. Ovlin Steiner from Norway, 155,000. Henrik is 990,000, and Tony with 225,000. So we're off and running again.
Call. Fold. 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 2 players.
Okay, so Tony's raised and Gil is called.
Bet 40,000.
So good Irish contingent with smattering of Scandinavians and a
I bet you the guy in the 8
Portuguese.
seats is Scandi for sure. He goes to that blind barber in Stockholm.
Ovlin from Norway. We were speaking to his friend out there. That was the guy that recognised you from the TV, Porig. He's one of the recreational players. They come over here because they can only really play illegal games in Norway. So him and his friend come 3 or 4 weekends a year. They travel to different places to play. They don't. He said it cost them about €1,000 for the trip, including the buy-in. It's not about, well, it's about the money and winning, but they come because they enjoy it, and it's a good experience for them.
Fold. Fold.
Well, judging by stories I've heard about the Norwegian Open, that's in the City West for the last couple of years, there seems to be quite a lot of money in the Norwegian poker economy.
Yeah, and well, JP runs that. JP is going to be tournament director here next week for the Deep Stack, and him and Froda put on a really good show, I believe. I haven't managed to make it over for it, but I believe it's 2,000 Norwegians in the City West, and
carnage
non-stop for 10 days or 2 weeks or however long it is it runs for.
You know, I've heard stories of pots there that are practically unbelievable.
Yeah, they're not shy about getting their chips in the middle, are they?
Well, I think there was one pot there a couple of years ago. It was in one of these 200 tournaments or something, but there was 3 jacks on the board on the river, and there was a raise, an all-in, called, and King High won.
Standard, lol.
Standard, yeah.
Okay, we'll get Albie to pop the chip stacks up on the screen after this hand so we can see where everybody is. But as you can, just looking at the table, that mountain of chips in front of Henrik Christensen from Denmark is the clear chip leader here. Andrew Brennan in seat 1. I know him vaguely. He posts on Irish poker boards as Andy Fat Bastard.
Fair play to him.
Really nice guy, actually, Andy. Loves his poker.
Fold.
Andy Fat Bastard. That's brilliant.
Yep. There's a good Irish community and sort of Irish poker community, but if you go onto Irish poker boards now, it's there's not that much poker on there. It's more just about people who know each other through poker, socialising on the internet together. It's a good site to go to if you've not been to it before. Do you recognise any of these Irish players on their table, Porrig?
Fold.
I think the guy in the 3-seat was queuing up outside the bar at 12 this morning. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, he's Portuguese. That's Gil Sameo, according to my notes here.
Raise 25.
I know.
I can't tell you he had a hearty lunch in the restaurant.
Yeah. I know some of that. I know Dermot's name. I've recognised that from playing events, but I don't recognise him to look at. And obviously, we know Declan Connolly, and Con Collins is a name I've read in places. Must have had some results for me to know who he is too. But
Did he ever run at the Irish Open a few years ago? It seems.
quite possibly, I think he's. Don't think he's from Dublin. I might be wrong. I think he's from
61,000.
either Waterford or Cork or somewhere like that. But I'm kind of guessing. But I think he's from down that way somewhere. I could be totally wrong. He could be from just around the corner. So, and Con's raised, was re-raised Dermot here. So 25,000 from Dermot and 61,000 from Con. And Henrik is having a bit of a think here.
Fold.
He's going to keep his big stack in front of him and get out of the way.
Fold.
I think he's probably thinking, have I got these stacked up right?
Yeah. And Dermot folds quite quickly there, and Con takes the pot.
Wow. Was that 25, 61 all in fold?
I know 25, and then 61 from Con, and then Dermot just folded. So.
Stephen wouldn't have folded.
No.
Big one, please.
I mean, we don't know. Every other hand he played in the tournament, he could have had the nuts.
Oh.
We only have a small sample size. Three hands we saw, and ace-8 was the best. But that was all in on the flop. And it was
by a considerable margin.
Yeah.
It was pretty gutsy.
Fold. Fold.
Sometimes that's all you need, isn't it?
I might take a different circumstances, he might have got through. But
Yeah.
But you know, we were expecting the clash. Obviously, Henrik was expecting it as well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to back off.
No, and it was an instant call with those nines on the board with 2 jacks. So
Call.
I think he was pretty confident in what he was doing. He looks a bit silly when Stephen has a jack, but it's not that often that Stephen shows up with a jack in that spot, is it?
No.
4 players.
Oh, 4 players to the flop here. It's 3 of diamonds, ace of hearts, 10 of diamonds.
Check. Check. Check.
It's checked all the way round to chip leader Henrik. He checks as well, so we can see the turn, which is the 4 of diamonds. So possible flush out there. 4 players in the pot. You'd think somebody's got something, wouldn't you, Porrig?
30,000.
And
Fold.
it's Andrew was saying, well, I've got something. Ton Ovlin now from Norway. It's an Irish guy against the 2 Scandinavians.
God help him.
That looks like a raise to me.
Raise.
Henrik instantly folds.
85,000. Re-raise all in.
And Andy's gone all in straight away. And a call straight away. We've got 3-4 against 8-9. So a flush for Andy and 2 pair for Ovlin. And he needs a 3 or a 4 on the river, and he hasn't got it. It's a jack, so
I will need to count your chips.
Andy's going to take that one.
No, I hope he didn't have a house.
He looks happy, actually.
147.
Ovlin, he's played a few events, according to his friend, but this is the first time he's ever made day 2. So I'm presuming that's the first time he's cashed as well. I couldn't find his name on the Hendon Mob, and it's pretty unusual. So
Did you look under the one-day tournaments?
Yeah.
I assume the prize money has gone up as soon as we're down to.
Oh, hang on a minute. She put the cards the wrong way round there.
Antis,
Albie, did you
please.
notice that? Yeah. Apologies there, I misread that. I thought that Andy had the 8-9 of diamonds there.
Oh, she fooled me.
Yeah, we were both fooled there. Apologies. So Ovleen is still in.
Fold, fold, fold.
Oh, I've misread plenty of my own hands, so it's... Yeah.
Raise.
I nearly got
27,000.
got accused of angle shooting in a tournament side event at the one of Finton's
Raise
events
all in.
because I declared a flush on the river, and the dealer was pushing the pot to me, and I'd misread her hand, and
Fold.
I'd had about 7 high or something.
Well, at least the dealer cooperated.
Yeah. And Tony's moved all in here, and Connor's asked for a count.
No. What's that break at for this level?
90,000 more.
But it says 56 over the
It's 90,000 to call. Obviously, our chip count system's not infallible. It says 78,000 on the screen, but the dealer says it's 90,000 to call.
Is that the same dealer that thought you had the flush at Finton's
Yeah.
tournament?
Yeah. So, Con's having a good think here. $159,000 in the pot. He's got to call 78. Well, 90, she said. So getting there 1.5 to 1.
I think you might be a lot happier if it was 78 he had to go, but it looks at it.
Nope.
Fold.
Tony's going to take that one down.
Doesn't necessarily have to have had the goods there, considering he lost a good chunk a couple of pots ago.
Yeah.
So if it's marginal, that can often put you in the direction of calling rather than folding.
Yeah. It's quite.
I mean, I always assume they would tilt a couple of hands after they've lost the pot because I am.
Yeah.
Not always the best course of action.
No.
But it is. It can be the deal maker.
So look at that. We've got only 2 players on the table have got above average chips here. And I think, if my calculations were right there, if Henrik doubles up Ovleen, who's got the second most chips on the table, Henrik will still be the chip leader or thereabouts on the table.
Well,
it's a great position to be in, isn't it?
Well, it means he can do whatever he likes, really.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the time.
Well, we've got an all in here from Dermot.
You don't have to put the chips into the pot to have them scare the other guy off.
Yeah.
Fold.
And Dermot gets that one through. Do you think we're going to see a lot of that now with just the way the chip stacks are lined up? There's going to be a lot more pre-flop all-ins, and
there's going to be a lot of raise all-ins as the shorter stacks sort themselves out. I assume there's been another jump in the prize money.
Not quite yet, because we decided rather than just pay a little bit more than the entry back to the people who cashed out, we've given them €350, which is almost double the. Well, if you take the reg fees off, it's double more than double the buy-in. So to reward them for making the money, so the first few out are all 350, and then it starts to rise from there to 12,000, over 12,000 for the winner. Henrik's got all the chips, but he's no cigarettes. He's just come and stole one off me.
Well, his credit is good at this stage. You could go as far as to buy him a pint now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Fold.
And that's all in from Mr. Atkinson from the Bridge Club. And everybody's folded there, so Mark's added a few chips to his stack. He's probably still the shortest stack at the table, but every chip counts in this situation, doesn't it, Porger?
Yeah. You know, I think we could get down to the last table fairly quickly here if the chips at the other tables are distributed like they are here. You know, in fact, the chip stacks at the moment are a bit like you'd expect the chip stacks to be after a bubble.
Yeah.
In the people hanging in and anteing themselves off a little bit and all ending up way below average.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of skews the average quite a lot, doesn't it? Because although the average stack is quite a few big blinds, because one or two people have big stacks, then the average for everybody else is a lot less.
I mean, there's 6 or 7 guys at this table under pressure.
Fold.
Well, we've
Fold. Fold.
25 or 26 players left. We can't see the other tables, but we've got 9 here, so
Raise.
at least 25 in the
25,000.
tournament. Raise from Dermot here. Oh, sorry, raise from Gill. It's Dermot has the option to call.
Call.
It's like a guy who was dancing to the band here last night.
Yeah, and that's Dermot's moved all in
Fold.
over the top of Gill's raise, and Gill folds, and Dermot takes down another pot.
Thank you.
It's all gone rather quiet at the table, hasn't it?
Yeah, everybody's. When do you start thinking about the money at first, second, and third place? What part of the tournament?
Just after I register, usually. So I might get to think about it afterwards.
Fold.
Well, you know, a lot of these guys have got quite a lot to be thinking about with their, you know, all those stacks around about 150,000 and that.
They may be thinking that if I sit here, the other short stacks are going to bust out and they'll ladder up. Mark's all in again,
Fold.
and it gets through. So I think that's the third all in 3 hands that has took the pot down pre-flop. 2 to Mark and 1 to Dermot.
I think a lot of the pots we see for the foreseeable future are going to be on their backs before the flop, because not too many players can afford to call a raise.
Yeah, yeah.
And take a flop or two. You know, if you take 1 or 2 flops and miss, or
So there's going to be it's going to take somebody either to make a move and run into a big hand or 2 big hands then before.
that's about it.
Fold.
No, I'm not greatly impressed with Henrik going for a cigarette at this stage, because his big stack has got so much value and so much power in this situation.
Fold.
He should be in there min raising just about every pot.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the book tells you, isn't it? When you've got a big stack against loads of short stacks, you keep raising until somebody comes back at you, don't you?
Yeah, and the maths usually work out. I mean,
not that I'm ever in that situation too often, but
no, we're talking about the book.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
You know, but like a lot of players, a lot of aggressive players with that kind of stack would be raising 2, 3, 4 hands.
Yeah. I remember watching.
Orbit, you know, they don't care if somebody moves in all over the top of them. I mean,
one of the most impressive situations of playing a big stack I saw was at one year at the World Series when I was over there doing live updates, and Lane Flack raised something like 17 hands in a row on the bubble, and nobody looked him up.
Fold.
imagine he did.
Fold,
That's
fold.
Lane's MO. I mean,
Fold.
Lane's
Fold.
holds an incredible record in that
Fold.
Didn't he go back to back?
he went back-to-back chip leaders that went into the final table in the Putnam at Hold'em event at the World Series, and I think the first year he had 48% of the chips going to the final table and finished second. And the second year he had 52% of the chips going to the final table. So
Tony's won that all in.
well, that shows you
Yeah.
the power of the big stack. I mean, you know, Lane is one of those kind of players who'll beat you to death with the big stack. Like,
Yeah. So,
which is really what Henrik should be doing here.
yeah.
Thanks.
Because, you know, it looks like the perfect spot because they all seem to have gone into defensive mode.
Yeah, well, there's only him and Ovlin still that are above average at this table. We've got a full table of 9 players, and 7 of them are below the average stack. So you don't see that situation all that often, do you,
Well,
Paul?
well,
That so many short stacks on one table.
Like, I think the chip leaders probably got almost as many chips as the bottom 7 guys at this table put together.
Yeah, yeah.
Close enough.
Well, Henrik's back now. Let's see what he does. Maybe he was out there formulating his plan.
He might have gone out to see if Stephen McLean had re-entered.
All in.
We have another all in now, so this is the 5th all in a row.
Have you got any more of them?
Yeah.
Fold. Fold.
And that's another one taken down pre-flop. 5 in a row. Declan wins this one. So it was last year that Declan won the deep stack. I couldn't remember. I should do, really. We don't run that many tournaments that I should be forgetting which year people won stuff. But
I was going to mention that, but I was too polite.
seems longer than a year ago.
Big blind, please.
Just one day I decided I didn't want them anymore.
So it seems like
Almost
seat,
five
seat 1
days
is the
for the
chatty
blind.
seat, isn't it?
Fold.
Stephen was in there before and he was chatting away, and Andrew seems to be leading all the conversation now.
All in.
Andrew Fat Bastard, his own decision to be called that. Just in case anyone thinks we're being a bit rude, he is known online as Andy Fat Bastard.
Fold.
Proudly.
Proudly. And he's not actually that fat, is he?
No, but you don't know that if you just see his name.
And Declan's won that hand, so 2 in a row for Declan.
Yeah, we did think the last time we saw Declan that he might have a propensity to get involved in a little bit of thieving.
Yeah, well, we know he's the one player we do know has got the ability to win a tournament, because we know he's won a big one. But Henrik, what do you think of Henrik's play other than leaving the table when he's got the big stack? Other than that,
I forget all the rest. Well, he played Stephen quite well.
yeah,
He's probably not as aggressive as I would expect him to be with that hairstyle.
yeah.
But you know, I don't think he's really put a foot wrong. And,
Fold.
So who's going to move all in this time?
Fold. Fold.
Oh, come on, Henrik,
min
you
raise,
should be raising
yes,
this
yes.
one.
Double the blind. Min raise.
Yeah. He's going to do it. He's taking your advice.
Yeah,
Has he
min
got a
raise.
direct link, has he?
Yeah, min raise quickly.
Raise.
Actually, I have a feeling he might be listening to the stream, so he's probably hearing what we're saying about it.
All in. Fold. Fold. Fold.
This is about the second time in the last 10 or 12 hands that Tony has
Tony's moved all in
made,
again, yeah.
made this move.
Everybody's
So
folded.
he's regained a bit of the ground he lost with those two pair.
Sorry? Yes. Okay.
You know, that was the kind of thing we think Henrik should be doing, and you know, with his stack, I mean, he's put in 26,000, and
Yeah, so he lost that one, but
he can just throw it away and say,
yeah.
"I don't care." Like,
yeah,
but logically, if he keeps him in raising, he should be winning a lot more than, you know. He should come out ahead on the deal, like.
yeah.
Fold. Fold.
So in the big blind at the moment is Gil from Portugal. And action is on Con. Looks like he's reaching for some chips. He's going to make a raise.
Raise. 28K.
28,000 from Con. Ovlin has been quite quiet recently, but he's getting some chips out there. Looks like he's going to call.
Fold.
Well, I think apart from
Fold.
Henrik, Ovlin's the only guy that can afford to call a raise at this table and
Yeah,
take
yeah.
a flop or two with the stack size.
2 pairs.
So we're going to see the first flop for a while, and it's Ace of Hearts, Jack of Diamonds, 5 of Clubs. And it's Con and Ovlin in the pot. Con raised pre-flop, and Ovlin called. And the action is on Con, and he's going to bet out.
Bet 42K.
It's 42,000. Ovlin reached for his chips very quickly there. Yep, and he's going to make the call, so...
He looks a lot keen, doesn't he?
Yeah. And I don't think Con's got that much behind, so what does that say about Ovlin's hand if he's just calling him? Turns the 5 of diamonds.
Well, Ovlin can very easily have an ace here, and maybe
Yeah.
he was hoping that Con would shove
Yeah.
him the turn.
Yeah. He's going to take the lead now anyway, now that Con's slowed down on the turn, so
Bet 43K.
that's a quarter of the pot bet from Ovlin.
And it does look like he's just trying to suck him in, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'd think so, because if Con has any of it, he's should be calling here with that the sort of odds he's getting there, shouldn't he? He's 210,000 in the middle already, and he's only got to call another 43, so he's getting almost 5 to 1.
Fold.
Well, so I think that was the blinds going up there. I heard through the headphones. I think I heard Nick's voice there.
I think Con did well there not to.
Blinds up. 2019.
Not to lose his stack.
2016 blinds.
Well, you know, sometimes poker players play a little bit like the Marines. You know, no man
Yeah.
gets left behind. You know, and it, you know, particularly in Ireland. And but I think Con figured out at that stage that Ovlin was loving this situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, he quite wisely pulled the
One
pin.
more.
You know.
2019.
That's more chips gone to the Scandinavian quarter of the table. And the blinds have gone up now to 816 with a 2,000 ante, so that's putting even more pressure on these short stacks at the table.
I'd imagine in Henrik's position, I mean, the last thing he wants to see is the blinds going up.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Fold. Fold.
Well,
is it 2,000 ante?
2,000 ante yet.
Call
So
16. 16.
it's the first time I think we've seen a call pre-flop. It was the first time I've seen somebody limp in the whole time we've been commentating.
Yeah.
All
I think,
in.
Okay, and Tony's moving all in.
well, 'cause sort of the min raise is the new limp.
Yeah, yeah.
Fold. Fold.
The blinds get out the way, so it's back on to the the limping Norwegian.
Fold.
There we go. Tony takes down another one. That's a few Tonys won.
I think Rory Little used to call it the limper's tax.
Yeah.
He lives and dies by that one.
I haven't seen Rory for a while, actually. He's usually used to bump into him when I was in the Vic when I was up in London, but
Oh, he's there. I was on the Vic last week. He was
oh. It's nice now, the new Vic, isn't it? Do you
Yeah.
like what they've done there?
Yeah. Shame about the players. You know, back in the day, you know, there used to be the Irish Open and a festival every season in the Vic. You know, maybe
Yeah.
something in Wolverhampton.
And Luton was the place for festivals, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was it. You know, it was there wasn't anywhere to go if you were a poker player.
Yeah. Walsall.
Fold.
Oh, then Walsall came along.
Luton. Two of the real nice places to go to in England. Take your bucket and spade.
Raise to 32k.
Okay, Ovlin's given up the limping now. He's back in with a raise. Getting pretty active now, though. He's doing what we thought Henrik would be doing.
Henrik has the stack to push him around
Yeah, exactly.
if he wants to, and he's got position.
And looks like Henrik's going to do something anyway.
Re-raise.
Okay, so got the average stack in front of us is 328,000. So only Ovlin and Henrik are above that, and Ovlin's only just above the average stack. Henrik's re-raised him.
I think he could be below the average stack after this pot.
Yeah.
we could end up with 8 players below the average.
Oh, he folds again. So limp, raise, fold. Raise, fold for Ovlin there. So
You know, and Henrik could have had just about anything there.
there we go. So he's still just above average after that pot, but nobody else at the table other than Henrik is above average. And 5 of the players have 10 big blinds or less. Well, Andrew has just over 10 bigs, but 11 will count that as 10.
And Tony's up to
265. He was down quite low, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been making his own arrangements, which is you know, he's actually crept back up to a pretty respectable chip stack without showing a hand.
Well, every time if you just win the blinds and antes now, it's what we're looking at, 42,000 in the pot pre-flop.
Yeah, you know, one of the short stacks could get back into this very quickly.
Well, we saw earlier on in the day Dario nearly do it, but he got from 4,000 up to 80,000 quite quickly, and then was outdrawn on the river to go up to 160,000.
Raise.
I reckon Henrik is listening to us. Look, he's raising again.
Is he allowed to?
There's no.
Are we on a piece?
Everybody could. I wish. Everybody.
No,
could
he's not
listen.
listening. He might have looked shocked when he heard the bit. Are we on a piece?
Yeah, no, I've got 50%. He doesn't know it yet. He takes down another one there, so.
Well, he's started doing what we think he should be doing.
And there he is. He's broken through 1 million now. And the Con's the short stack there. 96,000 for Con Colin. And he did lose that big pot to Ovlead not long ago. Oh, Henrik's off now. Is he off, or are they colouring him up? No, he's off, I think. Which means we must have lost some.
That's a little unfortunate for him, as he had the biggest stack at this table with all the short stacks, and the second biggest stack just to his right. You know, he had an almost ideal
position
set up here.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he'll be one of the big stacks on the table he's going to, though.
Yeah, we won't worry about him too much. We've all got our own problems.
He's got is that average for about the final 7 or 8 players already, so.
All in.
We've got an all in from Gil.
Fold.
probably isn't an awful lot.
All in.
No, Con's going to call all in, so Con's got less than Gill.
Called fairly quickly, Con.
Hmm.
1 over.
I'm guessing Con's got the best hand
89K.
here.
I think he's got a pair. I think I heard Gill say 1 over. I can see Gill's got an ace, I think, there. Pull the cards in a minute and we'll see them, but...
Maybe.
Yeah, oh no, it's a king 10 against 10s. So it's in good shape, Con, here, but there's still 3 kings in the deck.
Good news for him is that there's still 3 kings in the deck.
Yep, and he's got running diamonds and other options there. But now it's just the 3 kings. Nope, so Con's going to double up. And that must leave Gill quite short.
Well, that's kind of...
No. 1.5 bigs according to our chip counts here.
Well, Con will be feeling quite good now about that hand where he didn't push on the turn on the, with the ace jack 5-5 out there.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's a bit of a lesson there, and sometimes just don't let the blood go completely to the head.
Yeah.
Take a couple of deep breaths and live to fight another day.
Yeah, but he's up now 3rd in chips on this table from being bottom in chips. Just that double up there. Have we seen... I don't think we've seen Andy Brennan play a pot, have we? In seat 1?
Fold.
Hardly, anyway.
Fold.
Is he to stop talking
All
too?
in.
Yeah.
Maybe he's posting on boards.
Yeah.
19K.
I hope I haven't got him mixed
All
up with
in.
somebody else. I heard me calling him.
What, with some other fat bastard?
Yeah. No, it definitely is him.
Fold.
I hope for your sake it is.
I've made
You might have pissed 2 people off.
He's all in.
I've made worse errors.
Sorry.
Well, I
He's
can't
all
really
in.
tell you that on the live stream. I'll tell you later.
19, he's all in. Fold.
We've got the Gill's obviously all in here, and he's been called by
19.
Declan. Ace King against Ace Queen. So he's down to his big blind and a half, and he finds the Ace King and gets it in against Ace Queen. They both hit an ace on the flop, but Gill's still ahead. That's a 10. And a 3, so Gill's going to double up.
With the antes and the blinds, he's probably trebled up.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
he
so
has, yeah.
Almost quadrupled. So it just amazes me sometimes how quickly this game can change, can't it? You can think you're out of it and you're back in it, think you've won it and you're out of it.
Two more, please. 8,000. Thank you.
We're doing really well here. I think we haven't lost a player since I predicted that we're going to be dying like flies.
Yeah, yeah. So we jinxed it.
A lot of guys living really dangerously now.
Fold. 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 All in.
So all in from Declan now.
He seems a fairly cool customer, Declan, doesn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't really show much emotion, does he? And he's just acts quick. No fuss.
Fold. Fold.
But now I did hear a Declan. Somebody was telling me he was a very good player a few months ago. I had to pick an Irish team, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the names that.
Yeah, I can't think of many other Declans that I know of.
I can think of a few, but not to play poker.
It wasn't Declan Barker, was it?
No.
It's all gone a bit quiet. If anybody's out there watching and wants to get in on the action, there's cash tables running down here at the Regency, and there's a side event that started at 4 o'clock.
Barney Gribben's probably out then.
Yeah. And we have another side event starting at 8 o'clock, which is actually Win the Button, which is a bit of an interesting change. Every time you win a hand, you get the button.
37K. All in. Fold.
So Andrew, we just said he hadn't played a hand for a while. Con's raised to 37,000. Andrew's moved all in. So I don't think Con's going to be folding. No, he's pushed chips out already.
Ladies.
149K all in.
Queens, is it? I think he said ladies.
What is it, kings?
There's a 10 in
149K all in.
Con's hand. We saw him a pocket 10s earlier. Doubled up against the king 10. So queens for Andy and 10s again for Con.
Bit unlucky for Con here, unless
Yeah.
something good happens. Seems to be a lot of 10s in this deck.
There is.
The 10 of clubs is always on the flop, isn't it?
Yeah. So one more card to come, and I think we might lose. Oh no, Con's still got some chips back, so he'll just be knocked down to a really short stack, and he is. Andrew Brennan doubles up. 330,000 chip pot. So that puts him second in chips on the table now, behind Ovleen. Just.
You know, Barney Gribben was telling a story in the bar yesterday that he's taken up shooting as a hobby.
Yeah.
It's very handy in Northern Ireland in case it all goes off again. But he went along to this guy was his instructor.
Yeah.
Was telling them that, you know, at this gun club or whatever, that you never put your hand in front of the end of the gun. And so Barney said this guy seemed to know what he was doing. Then he noticed this guy was missing 2 fingers. So he went right off him. Now I know why he's telling me not to do that.
Yeah. Did you see those chip counts when they come up there, Porrig? There was the 3 players under 100,000. So that's 3 players with less than 10 big blinds at the table now.
Fold.
And the 2 players that have got the most chips on the table are only average stacks for the tournament. And gone straight back into the action after losing that pot to Andy.
Fold. Fold.
And
Call.
okay, it's a battle of the 2 shorties now. Gill's called. I'm not sure who's. There's not much in the stack sizes here, so.
53K is the all in.
Okay, so Gill has Con slightly covered, but losing this pot is disastrous for either player. Ace-6 for Gill and pocket 3s for Con, so it's another race. And a 3 on the flop, that's pretty much killed it dead there, has it? Oh no, he's got a 5. Gill. No, it's a king, so Con's doubled up again.
Must leave Gill very short.
It does. Remember, he went down that short before, didn't he? And he got back up. So 15,000 this time. He went down as low as 24. The last time he lost a big all in.
The limbo dancing here.
I'd say now, actually, the average stack we've got in front of us is 328, but it's probably more than that because we've lost at least 1 player on the outer table.
All under average.
Yeah, so they are, yeah. Send our gopher out into the fray to find out what the average stack is for us. 370 is the average, there you go. So everybody at this table is below average.
So, I mean, it should be fast and furious, but...
Yeah, because there's not many players with more than 1 move, is there? And Ovlin is one of those players who can raise, and he is.
Yeah, he's got enough he can raise and fold.
Fold, fold.
Andy was the only other player who can really do that, and Gil has to be all in here. And
Fold.
Dermot gets out of the way, so
17.
Ovlin's going to get
17k
some
all in.
chips back, because Gil only...
Now we'd see if Ovlin was using his stack or playing matching symbols.
King 7 for Gil, Ace 10 for Ovlin, and he hits an ace, but Gil hits a 7, so he's still in with a shout here.
Oh yeah, he's banging form, isn't he?
9, so a king or a 7. We're going to say goodbye to Gil, so he's going to get sent back to Portugal.
He's going to get sent back to the Simpsons.
And there we lose Gil, so Ovlin,
Seat open.
as chip leader at the table, adds more to his stack.
I don't think there's too many poker players in Portugal, though. I think at the WSOP Europe
Wait a minute.
2012, Portugal won its first ever bracelet when
Yeah.
some fat guy won the 1500 over.
Yeah, I don't see that many Portuguese. We always have 1 or 2 over for the bigger events, and off the top of my head, I can only recall meeting and getting to know one Portuguese poker player when I was going around doing all the coverage on the European tour circuit. Ricardo something or other. They're all called Ricardo, aren't they?
Well,
Apart from Gil.
He'd probably change his name by deed.
Yeah.
Lifelong Simpsons fan.
Seat open. Fold, fold. Fold. Please, gentlemen, please. Thank you. Fold. All
Okay,
in.
so we're down to 7 here.
Fold.
Won't be long before we're breaking another table and we'll be down to the last 18. Mark
And we
wins that
could
one.
lose all of them from this table.
Yeah. They've done the they did a redraw at 3 tables, so it'll be one of the other tables, outer tables, that breaks, I think. So. So we've got 3 tables of 7 at the moment, 21 players left.
Is there any money bubble coming up?
Yeah, 18. They'll start. The money will start going up at 18. So, but it's not. Obviously, it goes up gradually. So it's another €100 or something like that.
I've just been thinking about that win the button thing. So if you're sitting beside to the left of an aggressive player, you could be in terrible trouble here.
Yeah, because you're in the blinds all the time.
Blinds all the time.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I've never actually played it. I mean, we're not the first to do it. We copied it off somebody else, obviously, but it seems like an interesting event. We also have a couple of Irish tournaments throughout the week as well, which is always good fun. I actually I played one. We first did it at the Shorthanded in September, and I actually played that just because I'd never played an Irish tournament before, so I had to go at that, and it's crazy. But the players loved it. It was all action. It's a cheap €60 tournament. Something different.
Well, like the only time I ever played Irish was I played it in the Vic a few times in the dealer's choice. But
Yeah, it's 4-card Irish, so you discard 2 after the flop.
Yeah, some of the English introduced it at the Irish Open over a long time ago in the Merrion or the Griffin or whatever it was called then, just to confuse us. But it was kind of interesting to play the game that was called Irish that nobody in Ireland had ever heard of.
41. Okay.
Well, we've got a raise from Tony here to 41. I think it's 41,000, not 41. And
All in. Fold.
Con's all in, and it's up to Tony here. See whether he wants to call.
He's got caught a couple of times before.
Yeah, we've seen him raise fold at least 2 or 3
Looks like he might have
times.
an ace. Looks like.
Yeah. Can you fold an ace in this spot?
No.
He's not going to anyway. He's called. So we've seen Con in a lot of these all-ins pre-flop, and he's Won a few and lost a few.
144K. 144.
Tens again.
That's all yours.
Tens again, right?
What have we got here? Oh, tens again for Con. That's the third time he's had tens on this feature table. And King Jack for Tony. So it's another race. And so far Con's avoided any trouble on the flop. 8 high flop. The turn is a 5. Just needs to avoid a king or a jack on the river, and Con will be doubling up again. The river's a 6, so Con will double up with tens yet again. So he's had them 3 times and he's won with them twice.
Yeah, that was the tiebreaker, I think. Con's the new chip leader at the table.
Amazing, isn't it? Tony's really short now. Sort of 4 big blinds.
Got back into it. Gone low again.
Cum adică? Să zic să numeri pe aici, nu? Să numeri.
Nu mă, să zicem Morin call. Să anunțăm pe Nick.
I agree with the dealer, don't you?
Nu am strigat.
Oh yeah. Always do.
So still 7, but we've got 2 really short stacks there. Tony has just under 4 big blinds, and Declan has under 8. Mark's only got 9 big blinds as well, so
the 3 guys with less than 10.
yeah. That's the quick way of saying it.
Fold. 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 Fold.
It's folded all the way around to Ovlin in the small blind, and Tony's in the big blind, and he hasn't got many chips, so I suppose Ovlin's thinking
Fold.
he's going to have to call me, so... And he had is that an aces? Oh, kings! Oh, kings in the big blind!
Oh my God.
And he gets a walk. He had 4 big blinds in front of him, and he gets a walk with kings.
Beginning to feel really good about this tournament. That was a little unfortunate for him.
Yeah, no, that's one of the worst things, isn't it? When you get dealt aces or kings in the big blind, and everybody folds, and you're like, ah.
Or like it's the hand before the break. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's flying. Hold on, hold on. There'll be a queue.
Yeah.
We'll do what we want, but Harold, I'll scan it all.
Up it. Fold. Fold. Raise all in.
So we've got an all-in from...
Yeah, I'll get the stack
Con,
first,
is it?
please.
No, Declan.
Exactly.
Fold.
Gets through there for Declan. He seems to do it at least once around, doesn't he? Just keeping himself in the same position in the chips, and sooner or later he's going to get called and either double up or...
Well, he looks like a cool enough customer to me.
Still
I'm
7.
not sure if he can speak or not.
Still, all 7 players on the table have less than average stacks, so all the big stacks are on the outer tables at the moment. Well, how does that affect play on the outer? Do they know that all the short stacks are on this table? Well, how does that affect the players on the other tables, Porg?
Well, it's affect the play at the other tables. There's going to be a lot more chips there, so they're able to play a more regular game than this. I mean, I think, you know, we're that far from the final table, and you know, when these significant increases in prize money, it won't make a huge amount of difference, you know.
Yeah.
Call.
But it shouldn't.
Well, we've got an all-in and a call here anyway. Declan's moved all in again, and this time Ovlin is looking him up.
Fold. Fold. All in and call. To the cast, please.
Mark Atkinson doesn't look very happy, does he? He looks like his favourite pet died or something. Queen Jack.
I think it was a suicide.
Queen Jack against Ace Jack. So the Queen Jack is Declan, and he's the player at risk. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a straight on board for Ovlin, and we're going to lose Declan Connolly, last year's Deep Stack Poker Championship champion.
Very politely pushing all the chips in. Nice to see it.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, Declan.
I knocked him over myself. Looks like a class act to me.
Yep, no, he's a nice guy, Declan. And if he'd have got chips, I think he would have gone far in this. He's certainly one of the few players that are left that does have any form. So it's another one gone that we know has had a decent result. So there's not.
Yeah, he must have considered this quite a good opportunity when he went so deep and with his experience against a lot of pretty inexperienced players.
Actually, we don't know if Mick McCloskey's still left in. Let's ask somebody. Mick McCloskey's gone as well from the outer table, so there's very few people we know left in the tournament. Con Colin is a name we know, so we know Henrik Christensen, we know Mark Atkinson, but I don't think Mark's had any big results. Oh, there we go. Con Colin won one of our events last year, so I should know him. But to be fair, it was an event I wasn't at, so I can be. Can I be forgiven for that, Porrig? I wasn't there, so.
Well, I can forgive you. I'm not sure about Con.
I would have put the results on the website, but I wasn't actually at the event.
4,000 fold. Call. Fold. Up to you.
Okay, we got a raise from Con, who has won one of our events, and he's been called by Andrew.
Raise all in.
Dermot has moved all in, so the action is definitely picking up at this table now, isn't it?
Well, you know, you were asking about, I mean, how the short stacks here should affect play at the other tables. You know, like one of the biggest mistakes you can make is, you know, well, the first one is trying to get through day one and having that as a target.
Yeah.
And, you know, and losing equity in the last couple of levels on day one.
Yeah.
Just to say you made, phone home and say you made day two.
Yeah.
Even though it's nice to do it.
Yeah, and it happens a lot in these kind of events, and the World Series, I think it happens in a lot, doesn't it?
Oh,
People
yeah, but it's a big mistake.
Yeah.
And the other one is, you know, unless there's significant money involved, trying to make the final table.
Yeah.
And you've given up equity by
folding hand you should be playing.
Hand you should be playing. You know.
It's interesting.
You know, well, in the long run, it costs you money.
Yeah. So Con's got a decision on his hands here. I think Andrew makes it more difficult because Andrew's got a reasonable stack size compared to the rest of the table, so he's probably more worried about him, was he, than Dermot?
He could well have been, because
Andrew's folded as well. So
the only hand we've seen Andrew play so far is the queens.
Yeah. He didn't have it this time though, because he folded quite sharpish then after Con folded. So Dermot's added a nice chunk to his stack then.
Yeah, that was a nice shot in the arm for him, wasn't it?
It was over 100,000 he won in that pot, added to his stack, I think.
Yeah, it was a good spot.
Look at that, 80,000 and 63,000, and the blinds are 8 and 16, so that's like micro stacks.
I think it's known in the trade as being in deep shit. You know, then again, the beauty of tournament poker is just how quickly it can all happen.
Well, 19 left, and there is going to be a redraw at 18, it says in front of me here. We have got one of the best tournament directors in Europe, if not the world, running this, Nick O'Hara.
Oh, the world, I think.
Porik says one of the best in the world. That's good.
Well, that's what people tell me, and I always believe what I'm told.
No, Nick, great. He does a great job for us. He's worked for us for many years running tournaments. So I used to tournament direct when we first began, but now if you asked me to make a ruling, I wouldn't have a clue anymore, mainly because we use people like Nick and JP, and you can trust in them so much you don't need to know the rules yourself. You
can always just have a stab at it. See, quite a lot of tournament directors do that.
98,000.
So all in from Tony.
Fold.
And can Ovlin fold?
No.
Call.
Didn't think
All
he
in and
could.
call.
But you never know, because we know he's a recreational player, so sometimes you see people make strange folds, don't you? But it's jacks against twos. And Ovlin had the jacks. That's unlucky for Tony. He's picked up a pair and
All in and call.
he needs to hit a 2 or his tournament is over and we will lose Tony.
I feel a
in
bit sorry
19th place.
for Tony here, because he's shown a lot of balls.
Yeah.
And he's one of the more
He's missed
players,
it, so there we are. We're down to 18 now, so there's going to be a redraw. So we'll take a short break, and we'll be back when the table has been repopulated with players. And maybe we'll have somebody above the average stack at the table.
I knew that's going to happen.
That's okay.